What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. You have your two normal Thursday hosts, myself and JD from Line Movers. But yet again, we're welcome from good friend of the show, Hefe Picks. Hefe, you came on earlier in the week. You delivered the winners. We had to get you back on. How are you today?
I'm here. I'm ready to go. Fun little Thursday. I think this is my first time ever being on a Thursday and being able to speak to some possible football, but I'm excited. And I see you have the hat of a big winner from last night on.
Well, we're going to go into that when we recap how we did yesterday. Reason I'm wearing it yet again, because maybe it was one of my best bets. Maybe it was not one of my best. Who knows? JD, how are you today, brother? How was Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving that you had yesterday?
Man, I'm doing great. And last night was really fun. All the food's really good and everything turned out really well.
Glad to hear it.
What was your favorite? Got to give the people something.
Oh, don't ask that again. I don't know if you saw yesterday. He already bored the audience with his favorite green bean casserole right here on the screen.
Boy. I think I actually got to go. I have somewhere I got to be.
See, Hefe gets it. I don't know how, JD. I don't know how, but we'll let you explain here. We'll let you explain.
Casserole is just not for me.
So yes, that was very good. It was definitely really good. The last night, gosh, that was a lot of food. As far as the side, the mashed potatoes were really good. We actually had somebody else make those, and she did a whole like ranch mashed potato thing, and it was like really good.
That does sound good.
But yeah, as far as the turkey though, the actual wife actually made that one, and it turned out great. So
I know she's watching right now too. So brownie points to you for complimenting her cooking. Well done, sir. Good husband point there. Let's quickly jump over to the comments, fellas. We have Nick Castrucci here, who we knew Nick would be here because it is Steelers game day. I promise you, Nick, we will be going over that game shortly. Joe is here as well. What's up, bro? We appreciate you tuning in. Joe is saying he is a Steelers fan. He'll grab props, but he can't fade the squad. Joe, we'll be breaking down that game. You know we always cover the Thursday night football game on this show. And quickly, guys, let's touch on how we did yesterday. So let's go over our Wednesday recap. I'm excited to jump in, so I'm going to go here first. I swept my best bets yesterday. We went 2-0. Hopefully, we could do that again today. I'm excited to dive in. The Knicks was an unbelievable play. Guys, if I tell you to bet the Knicks, I don't mean, I don't want to say this and sound bad, but bet the Knicks. I very rarely bet them. I'm a fan of the team, but last night was such a Knicks spot. They came through. They delivered. And Hefe, over to you. The Knicks may have the best point guard to center combination in the NBA right now. How did you do yesterday, and what do you think about the Knicks? We couldn't have you on a show and not bring up the New York Knicks.
I did good yesterday. I'll tell you, I went 3-1 in NBA. Why I decided to have my only loss be the 76ers money line, I don't know. That's my own personal problem, and I will seek therapy for that. I just thought, when players have players-only meetings and players get called out, then they show up the next game. But boy, was I wrong. I watched a little bit of that next game being there was a 10 o'clock start. They played phenomenal team basketball. It was completely team basketball, and that's what you like to see. And this goes for any sport, really. When you get new players, it takes a little bit of time to build that continuity. In football, it takes some time for the quarterback and a new wide receiver to understand timing. In basketball, it's all about spacing, right? Yep. So you're finally seeing Cat and Brunson understand the spacing, but really how to play off ball when the other has the ball. It was really exceptional to see. I'm very impressed with how they did and how they looked.
On a similar note, we're only covering 4 games today, so we could chat a little bit as well. What do you think about the 76ers? I know that you said that was your one loss yesterday, but what are they, 2-12 now? This team is in big trouble.
It's actually incredible because they have worse records than teams that are actively trying to tank. And I don't mean like players are trying to tank. I mean like front offices are putting players on the court that shouldn't get as many minutes as they should because they don't want to win games. And yet the 76ers, who absolutely want to win games, who have built a big three, they don't got it, man. Whatever it is, they don't got. I saw that comment about Cat's defense. Look, NBA is a rotating sport. You have to be able to always rotate. The thing that the Knicks are hurting right now is that they really don't have another guy that could rotate when Cat is running out. It's going to get better. The space is going to get better. He's not a dog per se, but I'm going to take that offensive production any single day of the week.
I love it. Great breakdown there. JD, how'd you do yesterday?
Pretty good. A nice day. See on the show here, I believe it was the Ohio bet that I actually gave out here.
Yes, sir.
That was one of those games where it's fun that when we come on here and say how we think a game is going to go, and then that game actually goes exactly how we said it was going to go.
Yep.
It's really nice, and that's exactly how that game went. They just ran the ball. They were able to run the ball. They were able to score, and the other side, I said they weren't going to be able to run. I think Toledo had. I think they rushed for like 40 yards actually, like the whole game.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a nice win there. As far as the Knicks game, as y'all know, I actually was on the over there. That was another no sweat win. As far as the NBA this week, I've actually not lost yet. So that's definitely nice. Then in college basketball, we had another winning night. So yeah, man.
We love to see that.
Yeah, man. It's going good.
And the chef is getting some compliments from Nick Castrucci saying Ohio Moneyline was a sharp bet. JD with the crystal ball vibes. I agree. You were all over that, and that was not even a game. You knew very early on watching that game that if you were on Ohio, you were in a good spot, and if you were on Toledo, you knew you were in for a long night watching that game. So great read, JD. I believe that was a plus 100 money line as well. So good plus money win for the people there. Well, fellas, that's going to do it for our intros, but you guys know what we got to do now. It's time to get into the meat and potatoes. We're going to be diving in to some college basketball first. We all know the best college basketball bettor on the planet is JD. So we're going to be diving into the game we're covering today, which is going to be the Baylor Bears taking on the St. John Red Storm. This is the best game we have on the day. This is the Bahama Mar Hoops Bahamas Championship. And Baylor's coming in 3-1 on the year. St. John's 4-0 on the year. Like I said, Baylor's 13th in the nation, and St. John's is 22nd. Looking at recent performances, both teams have won their last 3 games. The only loss that Baylor has on the year was that game against Gonzaga very early on in the season. It was on November 4th. They lost 101-63. So we're going to start with JD as the college basketball expert on this show. What do you like in this game?
You know, before I start into this game breakdown here, one thing I forgot to say is our actually guy in the chat, Joe, last night was in the Discord. Actually, he actually threw in a parlay there that was a plus 500 and something there.
We got it right here.
Yeah, you get actually plus 519, and that thing smacked. So I actually have to shout out him too.
We love that. If you guys give out your parlays or winners inside the Discord, we have a free chat. We have a bunch of stuff. If you want to get shouted out on the show, put your plays in there. We love seeing what you guys are capable of.
For sure. But as far as tonight's game, this is actually going to be a neutral site game. I believe they're in the Bahamas, for this one.
Yep.
You know, and to start off with here, as far as St. John's, they've actually looked really good. They beat New Mexico their actually last game, and they actually beat them by actually 14 points. That was a game I thought that actually could be a really close game, and it just was not. So actually, like, as far as them, they're actually playing well. Then as far as on the Baylor side, we actually talked about them in the first game of the season, and the Zags, that was just a really tough game for actually them, being their first game of the season. But since then, they have definitely bounced back. The team is starting to definitely gel more now, and they look really good. As far as their starting 5, they have one of the best, if not the best, actually, like starting 5 out there. This team is very good. This actual offense is very good. This line to me is weird. I don't know if I'm just off on actually St. John's, or maybe it's because St. John's has looked actually so good so far. But I have this line actually closer to actually 7. So I'm a good ways off here. So for me, though, instead of laying the points here, the value on the money line for actually me is actually like the bigger play here. Looks like you can get the money line at minus 140 still. Yep. And yeah, there's one of those plays that I just absolutely love.
I'm on the same wavelength you are, JD, and you can actually get it at minus 135 on FanDuel right now, so it's at a pretty low value. I feel the exact same way you do. I'm not going to mess around with the points here. St. John's is good. They're going to be a team that we have to start expecting that's going to consistently be in the top 25. They have the biggest NIL donor in the game. The guy whose horse won the Kentucky Derby last year, I forget the guy's name, but he is the biggest NIL donor in the game. He's donated penthouse apartments for every player who comes on. They're paying players more than anyone right now. So this team in the transfer portal completely retooled. They added a ton of players. But as we said, it takes a little time for these guys to get going. And this is the first real test for St. John's tonight. We saw Baylor take on Gonzaga. They lost, but it was a good test. They also beat Arkansas, which is a good test as well. For St. John's, they beat the New Mexico Lobos. They beat Wagner University. They beat Quinnipiac, and they beat Fordham. All local schools to the tri-state area that are very low Division I programs. So to me, this is the first test that St. John's is going to see. It's going to be a tough one as well because, as JD said, Baylor may have the best starting five in college basketball. So I'm with you 1,000%. Give me Baylor on the money line at a minus 135. Hefe, what you got?
Right there with you guys. Baylor money line. 5 players averaging double digits already for that Baylor team. Really well coached. We know their pedigree. VJ Edgecombe, one of the best freshmen in the nation. I totally agree with what you said, Alpha, about the transfer portal and how St. John's used it. The positive is you get a lot of good players that have been great elsewhere. The negative is in basketball, it takes a whole lot more than 4 games to build that continuity. This is their first it's not even a true road game. This is just their first game away from home. So I think Baylor's got this. They're playing better basketball right now than St. John's is, even though they have 1 loss. Baylor on my line.
Agreed with you 1,000%. So we'll be back here tomorrow to celebrate the 3-way Baylor Moneyline winner. So let's get it, fellas, and let's keep it moving right along. We're going to be switching away from college basketball, and we are going to be moving over to college football. So let's get right into it, guys. We are going to break down first the Colorado-Kansas game here. Colorado's coming in 8-2 on the year. They're 6-1 in conference. They've been impressive all year long. On the other side is the Kansas Jayhawks. They're 4-6, 3-4 in conference. A little bit of a down year for them. This one has a pretty decent line that we're seeing here. As you guys can see, Colorado's only -3. And when you see teams like Colorado that are 8-2 overall, 16th in the nation, 6-1 in conference, only being favored by 3 points over Kansas, does that make you a little worried? JD, we're going to start with you. What do you think?
Worried? No. The line to me, it makes sense to a point. Because this Kansas team is not a bad team. I know they didn't seem to start off well, but that's because they played some very good and very tough teams. So yeah, there's this. I don't know. There's been this weird feeling around them. It seems like I've been hearing that people just don't think this team's very good, and that's just not right. This like team is they are an actually very good team. You know, my concern for them though in this game is their defense. This actually Buffs team, we know they are a high flying. They actually like to pass the ball, and actually they are very good at that, and they can score points. That's where Kansas, I don't think, is going to be able to keep up with them here. You know, I don't know. Kind of going back here, as far as Kansas, they've like covered a bunch of games straight now. I actually don't have it here.
I have it up right here. It's kind of interesting. So Colorado is the 3rd best cover team in the country. They're 8-2 on the season. Well, Kansas is only 4-6, so they have struggled a bit on the cover.
But I think they've covered their like last 4
Recently, they've been doing way better. You're absolutely correct. They've had some big performances. They just beat BYU. Well, BYU was on track to be in the conference championship game against Colorado. The week before that, they smacked Iowa State, scored 45 against them. And the week before, they only lost by 2 to Kansas State. So they've covered the last 3 games easily.
Yeah. For me, though, this is one of those spots where to take it to the actual like, NFL here, this is kind of like an actual Lions game where I keep saying the Lions, the market just cannot price them right. That's why they just keep covering games and they cannot be priced right. And that's why this actually Deion Sanders led Buffs team, I think, is the same way. They just cannot be priced right. For me, there's a lot of value here actually on them. The -3, if you actually want to lay that is completely fine here, I think. But for me, just once again here, the money line is where the bigger value is. For the show, I know on DraftKings they were hanging a minus 142. I'm not sure if it's moved any now. But for me, that is a great price. I think the money line price should be more in like the minus like 180 range.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I can't believe it's slow hanging fruit at 145.
Yeah,
I see
so
it.
I absolutely love that. And then also on actually DraftKings, we're not sponsored by them, but hopefully we'll be soon. They're actually team total here. They're hanging a 30 and a half, which as far as 31, we all know that is a very key number there. So actually getting their team total under that, to me is a great price. So I'm going to be on the money line, and then I'm also going to be on their team total over.
I like that. I like it. Hefe, let's have you jump in second. What do you like here?
Colorado money line, guys. I know you guys spoke about Colorado's defense. Let me tell you something. What if I told you that they're leading the conference in sacks? It's not even close. And in their last 6 games, they have 4 sacks in at least 5 of them. This team, the defensive line is playing a lot better than they have in previous years. In previous games, sorry. Shador's playing good. Only 7 interceptions on the year. I think that's pretty good for him. Offensively speaking, I just think they're better than Kansas. And honestly, Kansas coming off probably the biggest one of the year against BYU. I think that's why the line is where it is.
Agreed.
I don't know why the money line is so low. I don't think it's a trap though. I think Dion is going to have his guys coached up. They need this win. They know that they need this win because they probably have to win out to get to the Big 12 trip, to win that, to have any chance to get to the playoff.
Yes.
At the end of the day, there's nothing, absolutely nothing nobody can tell me that the NCAA wants more than Colorado in the college football playoff.
Definitely.
Because that game is going to make a lot of people a lot of money. Colorado money line. They'll be careless.
I'm a little nervous, fellas, because we're all on the same wavelength today. I am also going to be on the money line of Colorado because the value doesn't make sense to take the points here at a 2.5. Right now on FanDuel, it's a minus 2.5 at minus 125, or you can take the money line at a minus 140. So for an extra 15 cents, I'm going to say screw the points and take the money line here. I believe everything that Hefe just said. Same with JD as well. I think Colorado is destined to get to the college football playoff. At least they're destined to get to the Big 12 championship game. If they do not win this game, they're not going to get to the Big 12 championship game, in my opinion.
Even a better point than mine.
I really think they are going to at least get to that game. That game will sell as it is, and that's the very bare minimum that the NCAA wants Dion and this team to go. Give me Colorado on the money line. Definitely one of my favorite plays, and I definitely think they will have a easy-ish win here late. The score might get close. Kansas is very good at shrinking games at the end to get in the cover. We may see something like that, but I do think Colorado will coast for most of this game and should get the win rather easily. You said it perfectly as well. If Kansas didn't just beat BYU, I think this line would be very different. But BYU was kind of flirting with disaster for multiple weeks. They were not covering. They were having very close games, and they got a little too close to that, and they did blow it. They kind of turned into what we expected out of BYU. So I think it's definitely a Colorado play, and I agree with the two of you boys there.
I got something to say before we move on. Breaking news regarding Colorado. They just snagged the number 2 overall recruit next year, quarterback Julian Lewis, decommitted from USC and is now committed to Colorado. So
does that put to rest the Dion to the NFL? It looks
like Prime is going absolutely nowhere, but right back to Boulder next year because he has a successor to Shador now.
I think so, but let's say Dallas says they're going to trade up to get Shador and they're going to fire Mike McCarthy. They're going to say, we're bringing in Dion, the former Cowboy, to get our guy. I know what you're going to say. Dak Prescott contract. I know what you're going to say.
What are they going to do? Is Jerry Jones in the business of losing money? I don't know. Do you know? I don't think so. Is he just going to let 60 mil of cap just go to the wayside?
No.
I still don't know how the hell they're going to pay Micah Parsons. That's not for me to figure out. That's for them to figure it out. I don't think the Cowboys have any chance to draft Shador. Honestly, if I had to put my money on it, which I am literally looking for this line, I would put a lot of money that Ashton Johnson, the talented running back out of Boise State, is a Cowboy next April.
Interesting. You don't think that Dak's tradable? I do. I think he's definitely tradable. There's going to be a team that would absolutely want to take. I know he has
No, I don't think he's tradable because if he's tradable, then honestly, the entire NFL can turn upside down. That means Trevor Lawrence is tradable. That means Deshaun Watson's tradable. I don't think
No.
sign these quarterbacks to $50-60 million a year average annual deals with insane amounts of guaranteed money and then trade them less than a year into their contracts. That dead cap it is insane. We've only seen it done one time, and it was with the Broncos trading away Russell Wilson. They have a $50-something million cap it, and let me tell you something. It's incredible that they have that they are where they are right now because they have no talent because they can't pay for anybody.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but I do think if there is a way where Dallas can move up and get both Sanders boys, they could move Dak. There will be a way to get him out of there, and it could happen. But I'm with you. I do think he does stay in college, especially with him getting the second highest recruit in college. But yet again, we've seen this in the past. When a good job comes up, guys will leave. It doesn't matter what recruits they have. They'll take the recruit with them. Let's say he gets the job at Florida State. I think is very possible. He would absolutely bring that quarterback with him, just like
Not enough people are talking about that right there. Not enough people talking about that right there.
And you know
how bad Florida State is, how they have to totally reboot and rebrand themselves after this just, embarrassing is not even the word year. Who else would get the fans and the boosters absolutely wild than getting primetime back as the coach? That would be insanity.
Yeah, I think that's a higher possibility than him going to the NFL, but we will see. Time to tell. Let's keep it moving, fellas, to what I think is the best game of the weekend, which I think is a mispriced line as well. I'll let that out early, which is going to be Indiana at Ohio State. Indiana coming in 10-0. Coach Curt Cignetti has done a fantastic job with this program. On the other side is Ohio State, who seems to be here every year. They're always in these big-time games. But Indiana's not, so it's an interesting story here. Coming into this one is a 13.5 spread. It is an absolutely massive spread here. Is that too high? Is that too low? JD, what do we got?
Before we just break down this game, let's just talk about this game first a little bit here. Look, we have two top 5 teams here going at it.
Quasi-top 5.
And the spread is almost 2 touchdowns. What do y'all think about that?
That's exactly why I'm on Indiana. I'll let that out early. What do you like, Hefe? What do you think about it?
Guys, come on. Indiana's 10-0, and you know what? Respect, because nobody believed in them to be at this point of the season. Mm-hmm. The biggest win is against Nebraska, and Nebraska sucks. All right. They have to still win another game to go bowling. All right. I believe in the vibe that they have. I love that coach. He has them playing extremely hard. They're scared of nobody. That's 100%. They're gonna at 11:59, 1 minute before this ball is kicked off. Every person on that sideline is 100% going to believe they can win that game. Absolutely. That is without a doubt, and that is 50% of the job already done. Because good coaching and good just ability to believe in yourself is always important in a big game. The second that ball kicks off, they're going to understand why Ohio State is one of the most talented offensive teams in the nation with, just incredible talent in every aspect of their offense. We're talking about 2 great running backs. We're talking about 2 great wide receivers. We're talking about a good quarterback who knows when to keep the ball, when to hand it off, and when to not make mistakes. I just think this is going to be one of those games where Ohio State's going to score at will and Indiana's going to find it hard to score. I'm not taking a side because I think this is an extremely large spread. And I do think there's a lot to be said about coaching, and I have never been impressed with Ryan Day. He can never win that game, but I think on the field, in between the lines, there's no doubt about it. And you guys will liars if you disagree with me. Ohio State's way more talented.
Absolutely. But they're not as well coached, and that's very important. You said it in the beginning. That's 50% of the battle. And you take a look at this team here, their quarterback has been playing fantastic. Rourke has 21 touchdowns on the year to only 4 interceptions. They're limiting the turnovers. Will Howard basically has the same numbers. He's 24 touchdowns to 5 picks. And then I know you said that Indiana really hasn't beaten anybody. Their best win is either Washington, Nebraska, or Michigan. One of those 3 is their biggest win. Outside of Penn State, who's Ohio State beat? Their biggest test was Oregon, and they look like crap. They blew that game late. They beat Penn State.
Like crap is an insane statement. They lost by 1 point. What are you talking
about? Yeah, they blew it, bro. They looked great early, and then they looked like crap at the end of the game. They completely blew that game.
Dude, Indiana would have lost that game 31-0. Like
maybe. But also, what Penn State is their only big win. Everybody beats Penn State in the big game. James Franklin never.
Goddamn big win, man. I would say that at Penn State is times 3 better than crushing Nebraska.
Oh, I would agree there, but at the same time, it's James Franklin who's lost every single big game. He's never beaten them. So, I mean, that's a common thing. That always happens. He always blows the big game. Penn State had a huge lead there, and then they blew that one too. So I know Ohio State's a good team. They will win this game. I'm not saying that Ohio State's going to lose, but 13.5 points. That's insane to me. With a quarterback who doesn't turn it over, who plays smart football, and this team literally doesn't turn it over. They have great coaching. Kurt Cignetti has done this everywhere he's gone. He went to James Madison and absolutely dominated in that conference as well. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to fight. I don't think they win, but they're not going to lose by more than 2 touchdowns, in my opinion. JD, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think it's a blowout. I'd be shocked if it's a
Before
blowout.
before I go into my breakdown of this game, this is really fun. Because I have 2 more questions here. Before I actually break this game,
You're gonna make us blow a gasket in here, but yes, what are these
Just
questions?
be careful. Understand, I'm very close to a rant.
Okay. Well, first, next question. As far as that quarterback, who would you rather have?
They're the same.
Never
in
been
my
impressed
opinion.
with Will Howard, even as Kansas State days. Never really been impressed with him. I'd take
Same.
Rourke. I'm impressed.
I'm actually gonna take Rourke every day of the freaking week.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Howard,
Yeah.
yes, he has his like moments, but he turns the ball over. Rourke, you're not gonna see that.
Exactly.
I think the issue is that we've seen Howard turn the ball over and be a bad quarterback in previous years, in previous situations. I don't want to hold that against him in his tenure at Ohio State this year. He's only thrown 5 interceptions. But I get it. I also can't get that horrendous last play mistake against Oregon out of my head where he thought he was LaDainian Tomlinson. It was actually the craziest play ever. The guy thought he had 75 seconds. He had 3. I don't know what he was thinking.
I agree with you 1,000%.
All right, guys.
What's the second question we have?
This is the last one here. All right. If Indiana plays this game and they get blown out, as far as the college football playoffs, do they make it?
Depends how everything else goes. It really does. I mean, they have 1 game left against Purdue, but they're going to blow out Purdue. I think that the College Football Committee is going to do everything in their power to put in more SEC teams and Big Ten teams, in my opinion.
It's hard because obviously if they lose this game, they have no shot at the conference chip. It'll be Ohio State Oregon rematch. Which, listen, I'm not a believer that sports is fixed, but I am a believer that people want to make money, and that game would make a whole lot of money for a whole lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a question, JD?
Sure.
What if Indiana loses a close one? What if they lose by 2 points? They're up by 1. Ohio State goes down the field, kicks a game-winning field goal to win by 2. What happens?
Right there was what I was going to come back with, is that I think as long as they keep this game close, that actually they are still in, because at that point they are going to be a 1-loss team. And yes, they haven't played great teams, but those teams they've played, they have beaten the absolute shit out of those teams.
Yeah.
Valid.
So in my opinion, as long as they keep this game close, they are going to be in. But like y'all said, if this does end up being a blowout game, I actually think that they're out.
It could be.
I agree.
Okay.
Going over the comments, we've had a couple of comments on this game. Jabo was here as well, super late to the party. He was on a conference call. We are glad you are here. Josh is asking for us a cluck bet, but we're all kind of on the same side here, so I don't think anyone wants to take the other side here. And JD, we still need your official pick on this game.
As far as this game goes here, as far as this actually Indiana team, I've been on them in some way almost every week. I've played their spread some, but I've played their team total over numerous times. That has been where I have gone with actually this actually team here. And guess what? This week, the spread and as far as their team total over, I'm actually playing both here.
Let's go.
I make this number much closer to actually 7. This numbers just keep going up. I don't think we're going to see it go up any actually further here. Because if you hit the plus 14 mark, there's going to be a bunch of money that actually comes in then, and it's just going to knock it right back down. So I think books are actually going to keep the actual number here. We actually talked about Rourke. He is playing very, very well. And in this game, I don't think that actually Indiana is going to be able to run the ball well. So it's actually going to be on him, and I think that he's going to be able to do enough in this game to keep this game somewhat close here. Then on the other side, as far as their defense, they've been playing very good. And then actually, like against the run, they've been very good also. But that leads me to where I'm kind of concerned here, because as far as the Ohio State as actually far as their wide receiver group, they haven't faced any team actually like this. And I am kind of concerned about them giving up points here. So, but actually, besides that, I really think that actually like they can hang in here. Give me the points here. And on DraftKings, again, you can get their team total at 17.5. I actually have them getting to 24 points here.
Love that.
So I absolutely love that too. Out of both of these plays, that is going to be my bigger play. So give me them again to just score points, because that's
There
what
we
they've
go.
done all season long. And I really think, I mean, I'm like I said, I have them to score 24 here. I think that they get to 21 at the very least. So
I love that. If they do, I'll be feeling even better about my plus 13.5, because that's my official play. I absolutely love Indiana this week. There's no other play I personally would take on this game outside of Indiana with the points. It's disrespectful to a team who's been this good this year to make them two touchdown underdogs. Give me Indiana plus 13.5. FA, official pick from you?
Official pick, guys. I'm not taking a side. I'm not taking a total. I'm looking at a player prop. Ohio State, in my opinion, has one of the best wide receivers in the country. And sadly, we're not going to see him in the NFL for another 2 years because he is a flat-out, real-deal freshman. Jeremiah Smith, 10 total touchdowns on the year, 1 rushing, 9 receiving, has scored a touchdown in 8 out of the 10 games that Ohio State has played. JD touched on it. This is by far the best wide receiver group this Indiana defense is ever going to see. I don't even have time to mention Ogubake, who's an amazing wide receiver in his own run. He's going to be a first-round pick, no doubt, this year. Give me Jeremiah Smith anytime touchdown, minus 150 odds. Little shocked it's that low and obtainable. I think the way for Ohio State to win this game is to air it out.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's see. A touchdown for you, a cover for me, and some points for JD. We will all be very happy if that is the case. Well, fellas, let's move on to our final game of the day that we're going to be breaking down, which is going to be the Thursday night football game between the Steelers and the Browns. Let's break this one down. The Steelers are coming in 8-2 on the year, 4-1 on the road, taking on a Browns team that has the opposite record. 2-8 on the year and 1-4 at home. So everything is reversed there. We all know the two storylines coming into this game. The Steelers just took out the Ravens 18-16. They've won what it feels like a million games in a row, and they are in an absolute tear right now. The Browns on the other side, losers of 4 of their last 5. The only game they won, shockingly, was against the Ravens, which is a pretty good win for them. But this is a really good game that we have here. JD, I'm going to start with you. What do you like between the Steelers and the Browns tonight?
Whew, man, it's another Steelers game. Here we go.
Here we go, baby.
Here we go. Well, first off, as far as the weather tonight is not looking good.
Yep.
It's looking like it's gonna be a mix of rain and snow throughout the game. When I looked at it before, the winds were actually supposed to be pretty high, but I actually just looked at it and they're not going to be as bad now. So definitely going to have some rain, definitely going to have some snow, but the wind is still going to be blowing, but it's not going to be that bad. The Steelers are now on actually the year. They are actually 8-2, and then against the spread, they are also 8-2. Gosh, y'all, this team is so good. They're so good.
They're coached so damn well. It's ridiculous. It actually kind of pisses me off how, like, no matter who they have at freaking quarterback, this wide receiver, that running back, this tight end, that cornerback, they just freaking win games.
Yes, they do.
This team pisses me off too, Hefe.
They just piss me off, and they win in the worst way possible. I have a stat. Sorry. 21 times this year, a team has not scored a touchdown in a game, right? So field goals or safeties, whatever. 4 times out of those 21, the team has won. Twice it's been the Steelers. Twice it's been the rest of the NFL. It makes no sense. They've won 2 games this year where Boswell's the only person that scored.
That leads perfectly into what I'm about to say. They are such a lucky team. So lucky. And now that the Chiefs have finally lost, they are the most overrated team in the entire NFL. I'm sure everybody knew that was coming.
Oh, we did. If you watch the show and you know how JD feels about the Steelers, you knew he was leading up to that.
I know. I just didn't think he would take the fighting Jameis Winston's, though.
He hasn't yet.
But I will say, coming off of that Ravens win, that is a big win. I'm not going to go into that game. I'm just going to leave that alone. But they actually did get the win, and that was a very physical game. So now them on the road on a very short week, I was trying to find every reason I could to go against them, or just any reason, like actually besides those. And damn, I just couldn't do it. I just could not find it.
Yeah.
To me, these are honestly 2 fade teams. But of those 2 fade teams, one of them has the much better coach, and then one of them can actually run the ball. And as far as tonight's game, there's going to be a big deal.
Yep.
The Browns tonight, the Steelers defense, yes, I've talked shit, or not really shit about them, but they're just.
No, you've talked shit.
But the Steelers defense is good. I'm just saying they're not as great as actually some people say. But as far as against the run tonight, the Browns are not going to be able to run. And that means it's going to end up being a Winston game. And I just can't trust that.
In this weather, a Jameis Winston game who has more interceptions per average throw than anybody in history. I can see why.
To me, this game, the Browns look like to be the sharp side. And actually, like I've talked a few times on the show, I think there are fake sharp spots. And actually, this is one of those spots. To me, this is a Steelers play. I'm sure y'all did not see that one coming. But I am on them to a night. Like I said, I think this is the side. The Browns are, like I said, they're that kind of fake sharp spot. And I looked at the actual first half play was what I was looking at first, because they're only actually minus 2.5 there. Then I was looking at it, and in the actual second half of games, they really clamped down.
Yep.
And they play very well. So for me, I am actually going to go on the full game here.
I like that. And Jess, good point there. I absolutely love Winston interception parlay piece. JD, you put it perfectly. I'm not going to take up too much time. I'm also on the Steelers. Put the points tonight. I think it's the best bet you can make on the entire board. You put it perfectly with the weather. One of these teams has a game manager in Russell Wilson who's not going to turn the ball over. One team has a guy who is going to turn it over. The Steelers will win the turnover margin, which will be the difference in this game. That's how they win football games. They win the turnover margin. They win the game. That's Steelers football. It's been that way for 50 years. It's going to continue to be that way. I'm all over them. Give it to me. Steelers, one of my favorite plays. Hefe, what you got?
Speaking of game plan, another typical Steelers game plan is control the possession battle, win the possession battle. And I think Tomlin is screaming that every hour on the hour until that ball is kicked. I think you're going to see a whole lot of Najee tonight. I think you're going to see a whole lot of Jalen Warren tonight. I think you're going to see a whole lot of quick passes, long sustained drives. Okay.
Yep.
They will not even take the risk of throwing a big pass to Pickens unless they find themselves down, which I don't think they will. They're going to play conservative football. This is AFC North football tonight. You're going to see a very typical kind of game. It's what we saw with the Steelers-Ravens last week. It ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be fun, but somebody's going to win. I do think that team is the Steelers. My official play is they'll be under. I think the Steelers defense is for real. I think Jameis Winston 100% panics when the pocket collapses. I see that pocket collapsing a lot. I see an interception. I see the Steelers taking their time and making no mistakes on offense, but also not doing anything flashy. Official pick is the under. I'm also looking at the overs on rushing yards for Russell Wilson at 11.5 and for Najee Harris. It's ballooned up to 72.5, which I don't like because on Tuesday, I actually have it written down. I put in a parlay, a personal parlay of mine on DraftKings. I got it at 64.5 on Tuesday. It's ballooned to 72.5. That's crazy in 2 days.
Absolutely agreed. It is a little high. I wouldn't take it at that number now, but you did get a good number. He still probably will go over that, but the value is all gone in my opinion. So I personally,
there's no value. I'm not telling anybody to take that number 72.5. If you got it earlier in the week, I think you're in the money. I do like Russell Wilson 11.5 because I do have to respect the Browns defensive line still. I think they can get pressure on Wilson. I just don't think Wilson will make the same mistakes that Jameis will in that situation.
Agreed. I completely agree with you there. And fellas, that is going to wrap up our breakdowns, but there's still a couple things that we still are going to do on the show. So first, I am super excited to let everybody know that the official MoneyBall metrics and across-the-board hoodies are now released. You guys can see right here the pricing of them. They'll be delivered by Christmas. Pre-sale has started already. Make sure you guys go over to the MoneyBall metrics Twitter. Get in on that. Get a hoodie. They're pretty sweet, and I'm super excited to show you guys when they come in these hoodies and how nice they're going to be. So you guys can go in there, pre-order them, get the hoodies, and we have more merch coming very, very soon. Fellas, now there's one more thing that we still have to do on the show, and that's dive into our best bets of the day. Hefe, as our special, not so special, kind of guest, not really guest, what do you got for us? Give us your best bets today.
All right, I got 2 from the college ranks, 1 from the pro. We'll go college first. Colorado money line. I don't really got to speak on it anymore. We've spoken it a lot. Colorado, I think, wins this game. I think you're getting it at a discount because Kansas just came off a huge win versus BYU. Next, it's Ohio State's wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith, scoring an 8-time touchdown, minus 150 odds. He's one of the best wide receivers in the nation. He scored 9 touchdowns already through the air. It's the best wide receiver that I think Indiana's secondary has seen this year. Look from to the end zone. Lastly, the under in Pittsburgh, Cleveland tonight in the NFL. It's going to be raining. These 2 teams already play each other really hard. Take the record books out of the way. I think points will be hard to come by. I think this is a possession battle. Under 37.
I love it. There you go. You guys got the best bets from Hefe. I'll jump in here next and give mine. Steelers minus the 3.5 is my best bet. And the second one is going to be the Indiana Hoosiers plus 13.5. Those are going to be my 2 for the Thursday across the board show. JD, close us out. What you got?
I think this is the most best bets I've ever given out.
I think it is as well.
So let's just go for it here. Game tonight. As far as basketball, give me Baylor. Like I said, I this number to me is way off. So yeah, give me the Baylor money line here. I believe Alpha said we can get that at minus 135.
Yes, sir.
And then for Saturday, give me the Colorado money line. I'm definitely seeing the most value there. Like I said, I believe DraftKings still has that at a minus 142. If you actually want to lay the 3 points, either is fine. But like I said, for like me, as far as the value, is actually going to be on the money line here. Then in that other college football game we talked about, let's go with the Indiana team total over. You can get that at 17.5 now. As long as that stays under 20, that actually is a play. I would think that the team total would move up some closer to actually game time here. But as long as you're under that, there's completely fine. And then tonight's game, it's weird for me to say it, but give me the Steelers.
I love it.
Give me them, and I think that they get the job done tonight. So.
There we go. Guys, get your phones out. You know what time it is. The plays are on the screen. We have just over 1,000 people still here. We appreciate every single one of you who's tuned in and hung out with us today. As you can see, I'm on the Steelers minus the 3.5 in Indiana by the points. JD is on Baylor, Colorado, Indiana team total over, and the Steelers as well. Hefe's on the under tonight. Colorado and Jeremiah Smith anytime touchdown. Fellas, we broke down the college basketball. We broke down the college football. We broke down the NFL. Hefe, thank you again for making time to join us. We appreciate you. Everyone in the chat, I'm sure, appreciate your picks as well. JD, have any parting words for the people before we get out of here?
Yeah. Nick in the chat, he actually thought this was something else. It's actually not. During our little Thanksgiving thing last night, we had a little spice cider thing. So actually, this is that. But you know what? Since today is Thursday, we just gave y'all 4 best bets. This week is going on great. We are winning. So yeah, let's just do a nice cheers for everybody. Bottle pop.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Woo.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Yeah, me and Hefe got our coffees here. We'll cheers with that.
You don't know what's in
Hefe,
this cup.
Hefe, we don't know what's in that cup, but give the people another inspirational quote. Get them pumped up.
Sometimes when it's dark before dawn is when you really have to look inside yourself and realize who I am and why am I here.
Wow.
And only then will you have the clarity to pick nothing but absolute winners.
Wow. I'm fired up. JD, we'll be back tomorrow. Hefe, we appreciate you. We know you'll be back on soon.
Please stop making me do that every time I come on.
Every time. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Good luck tonight, everybody.
Let's fucking
Peace.